What is happening? And welcome to another four-wheel drive talk episode. And friends, you know how I feel about getting out in the outdoors, camping, and how has owning a trailer really changed the way that I camp. But what do you do when you have for example, a small Toyota pickup with a towing capacity of, this actually has a pretty decent towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. Yeah, for what it is. Or let's say you have a two-door Jeep that has a towing capacity of 2,000 pounds. Or what if you have a towing capacity of a Prius? Yes, I said a Prius, which surprisingly has a towing capacity of 1,600 pounds. That caught me off guard. But the point being here is, now granted, in a Prius, you're not going to be going off-road. But what if you wanted to be able to get out with any of these? And if you go out there and buy, start shopping around for trailers and so forth. Now, granted, the 3,500 pound towing capacity of the small pickup, yeah, you do have some options. But if you look at a lot of the Teardrop trailers out there, most of these, their weights are anywhere between 1,300 pounds and flying up over 2,000 pounds. That's dry. And as soon as you start loading these things up with any sort of supplies or stuff that you may need, or awning, or just additional items that might not be included with it, weight tacks on really, really fast. And so there's a company in California called Sunnyside Offroad, and they have a teardrop called the Boony Stomper. I don't know how they came up with the name, but I absolutely love it. So this thing is called the Boony Stomper, and it weighs under 700 pounds, like 670 pounds for this thing. So yeah, that Prius that I threw in there for good measure could even tow this thing with some plies inside of it. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today, guys. So last Sunday, I found out there was a company down in San Diego that bought a couple of these things called Ride and Drive. Well, this is a brand new company. It's launching here this upcoming month, and what I will do is I'll put their social handles down below, and when their website comes online, I'll update the description down below. So depending upon when you're watching this video, it'll be down there already. But these guys, there's a couple guys down there that are super cool. And what they've done is they picked up a couple of these trailers, and they're going to be renting these things out in the middle of Anza Borrego. A lot of fun. You may recall a few months back, I was out there. Buddy and I did a camping trip out there with Aiden James Customs, which was a ton of fun. This area is a lot of fun. It's beautiful out there. But anyway, so these guys are going to be renting. They picked up a couple of these trailers, and they have a lot of plans to renting these things out. And so I found out that these things were down in San Diego, and so I drove an hour and a half down there and met up with these guys. And so the photos and the video that you're going to see here is of one of these Boony Stomper trailers. And I'm going to tell you, these things punch way out of their weight class. And while I was down there, of course, I had an opportunity to look this thing over. And I have to say, this, when I first drove up, I was like, wow, this thing is tiny. But you get inside this thing, guys, I'm 6 foot, I'm 220-ish pounds or so. I got inside this thing and I was absolutely blown away. This is a good example of small axes chop big trees. But anyways, we're going to dive into some of the details and impressions and, just really what I thought of this thing. But first, before we dive into this, friends, look, we put these videos together to help you get out there and find the information that you need, and in this case on a trailer that I think is a game changer. So prior to this, the two-door Jeeps, and heck, again, we're talking about, we're coming into a new phase of EV drivers and overlanders out there. People with smaller vehicles that have next to no tow capacity can legitimately, without having a fuss with going out and buying a whole new vehicle so you can safely tow something, because at 670 pounds, heck, you can load this thing up and still be under 1,000 pounds easily with this, which again, that Prius, something like a Prius, can actually get out there and safely tow this and still be below its towing capacity. But anyways, so the idea with this is, as soon as I found out that this was down there, this was like a no-brainer. Got to get down there, get some footage, kick this thing over, and take a look at it. and share with you my impressions of it. And that's what we're going to dive into. But as I said a moment ago, if you find some value with this video, there's that like button down below that really digs it when you hit the like button. It really does help the channel with the whole YouTube algorithm. That said, my friends, let's dive into, let's go. Come on. All right, the first thing I'm going to dive into here is that first impression. When I pulled up into this, we met at Fiesta Island down in San Diego. So this thing was parked on the beach. It was actually perfect for this sort of photo shoot and to be able to get that sense of just fun. I mean, they towed it with a small Volkswagen. This thing is perfect for smaller vehicles. So, but when I first came up, I'm like, wow, this thing's small. So the exterior specs of this thing, it's 119 inches long. It's 74 inches wide at its widest point. Now I mentioned earlier, this thing weighs just 670 pounds or so, and it does have a tongue weight of 100 pounds, which is pretty stinking awesome. Now it has a 2x2 steel tubing powder coated frame. Now this is for superb durability while still being ultra lightweight. And speaking of lightweight, you have aluminum skin, again for outstanding durability without adding much weight. These guys really went to town. They saw, going back to a moment ago, I was talking about this thing's great for those vehicles that have the low tow capacity. The Priuses, the two-door Jeeps, or even side-by-sides. I mean, a side-by-side is perfect for something like this. But as I'm breaking down some of the construction of how these guys put this thing together, if you start looking at the continuity between the components used, it was really designed to create a lightweight teardrop trailer, which again, 670-ish pounds or so is really unheard in the industry. Now this does have a 2-inch receiver hitch. Now this is going to allow you to add a hitch rack, hitch table, spare tire, and pretty much whatever you can fit in that thing. Now on the back of this, you're going to notice there's a 50-watt solar panel, which powers the driver and passenger porch lights, a dimmable interior LED light, and dual USB charging ports, and a powered fan. Now, what's interesting about the fan is when I was talking to the founder of this company a couple weeks ago, he made a point of talking about this fan and talking about how fantastic and the breeze and all the ventilation that comes through with it. So I'm thinking, okay, whatever, he has a fan. When I got down in San Diego, one of the first things they pointed out, because it was like 82, 83 degrees out, and I expected inside of this thing to be a stinking oven because there's just 2 doors on each side. I mean, they are sizable doors, but they made a point of like, get inside this thing and turn on the fan. And so I get inside this thing. They had me open up the little window so you have screens in the door. And there's a fan up on top, and it has 4 speeds to it. At first I turned, setting 1, and you can definitely feel this fan. First off, the fan is crazy quiet, and it starts sucking in the air from both doors. And you have, laying in the center of this thing, you have this airflow coming through. Then I cranked it up to beast mode to level 4, 4 speed on it. And again, the fan was quiet, but now you have a significant amount of airflow that is just being pulled in through these screens, the screens on the door. It was incredibly, really comfortable inside this thing. But that was, I have to say, 2 things that surprised me. 3 things surprised me about this thing. First off, how small it looks from the outside. Being a 6-foot guy, I was able to get in and I was able to sprawl out and I was very comfortable. That's one. The second thing is this fan. I was, again, really floored with just how much airflow that this thing really pulled in. Again, from an engineering standpoint, they did a great job. And the third thing, which when I got there, when you expect something that weighs 670 pounds or so, you visualize kind of one thing in your head. And when I was inspecting this thing over, again, it really punches out of its weight class. Now, this is actually a good part to dive into. Let's take a look at discuss some of the off-road specs of this thing. So you have a custom fabricated long travel independent travel arm suspension with load adjusting shocks. You have Method 409 wheels with 29-inch tensor regulator tires. On the outside, for being a small trailer, this thing really presents itself as really ready for business. Again, the suspension on this just kind of caught me off guard. I was like, wow, this thing is really ready to go. Now, let's dive into the interior specs. A moment ago, I was telling you, I got inside this thing and found myself being a relatively large guy, being very comfortable inside this. It's easy to get in and out, which was really nice. Now you have 6'4" interior length and it's roughly about 46 inches wide. Now throughout you have 3/4 inch cabinet grade pine walls, which allows you to customize the trailer with accessories. And the cool part about that is there's no wires and voids in the wall, which makes customizing this thing really easy. Now this is finished interior with carpet walls and headboard, plus linoleum floors, which of course, if you have kids or animal or just getting out where you may be in the elements, that's going to make it super easy to clean this thing. Now, of course, in the back of this here, you have cabinets to store all your gear, and they have these self-latching doors as well. And again, as I mentioned earlier, one of the big selling points with the interior is this darned fan. This fan is absolute beast mode, and it really did do what the owner said. And so yeah, that's the interior of this thing. All right, let's shift gears and now talk about some of the options, because there are a ton of options that Sunnyside has made available for the Boony Stomper. Starting things off, you can get a custom Boony roof rack, and this is good for securely loading extra gear, and you can also add a tongue box on the front of this thing for added storage space. Now, something to keep in mind. Earlier I mentioned you had a 100-pound tongue weight. You go putting a box on here, obviously that's going to increase the tongue weight on the front of these things. Now you have your choice of a Jackery portable power station, a 240 or a 500, and you can also add a external AC power port on the trailer as well. Now there's also a custom fold-down table on the passenger side. Actually, I'm not sure if you can get it for the passenger and the driver's side, but the trailer that I saw on there, it was on the right-hand side, on the passenger side of this trailer, which is great for preparing meals or putting a stove on there. Next up, there's a CVT awning, your choice of 55, 79, or 99 inches. Next, a spare tire with a matching wheel, so you can add a rear tire mount with install. Now, in terms of water, you can add a 18.5 liter Lifesaver jerry can water purifier, custom fit 6-inch dual density foam mattress, which I can tell you from experience of laying down on this thing was super comfortable. And this is also with a poly cotton cover on this. Now, interior cargo nets, and this is great for holding small things like your cell phone or your keys or flashlight, whatever the hell you want to put in there. Now, as you can see, the Boony Stomper really comes well equipped, but if you want to customize this further, they have a ton of options available. And friends, there you go. This was hands down one of the most interesting trailers that I have seen in a while. Again, when you look at the big selling point with this is the weight. So again, for people that have a Prius or Volkswagen Bug, I have no idea what a Volkswagen Bug towing capacity is, but yeah, I imagine it's probably low. But one thing, again, going back to Prius, 1,600-pound towing capacity, and a two-door Jeep, 2,000, only a 400-pound difference. I was actually surprised about that. But again, side-by-sides. This is perfect for side-by-sides. So the fun part with this here is, for a lot of folks that have these vehicles and are attached to these vehicles, or just don't want the hassle or the creating the anxiety of going out there and buying a new vehicle and then going out there getting a trailer, you can actually tow this, get out there, enjoy the great outdoors in the comfort of a small trailer, which actually from a storage standpoint is probably a breeze to kind of hide this thing away in your garage and so forth. But anyways, this thing really presents itself much different in person. I will say that. I was expecting one thing. I wasn't expecting to be blown away. And because again, it's a small trailer, you expect, okay, it's gonna be a small trailer, but it presents itself much different in a very positive way. I left there quite impressed. And so I really appreciate the Ride and Drive folks for allowing me to come down there and meeting up with me, allowing me to take some photos and get a first impression of this thing here. So thank you guys very much. And if you want to take a look at what these guys have coming around the corner, I'm going to put links down below in the description as well. But guys, before I go signing off, I do want to remind you about our current giveaway, which features these 3 excellent prizes. We have a Forest Tool Company Max Toolkit. We have a Stanley Adventure Camp Cook Set, and of course, the $100 Amazon gift card. As always, entering the giveaway is really simple. Step 1, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Step 2, leave a comment below. In fact, the more of our videos that you watch and leave a comment on, the more chances that you have to win. So, friend, what are you waiting for? Get watching some of our other videos and leave some comments. Step 3, register on 4-Wheel Drive Talk and introduce yourself in the forum. Now, if you happen to register on the site already during one of the last giveaways, you're still eligible to win. But as I keep saying over and over again, swinging by, say hello. That is it. For complete details on the giveaway, including how to say hello in the forum or how to register on the site, check out the description below. Good luck. And friends, that's officially it here for me today. So, as always, look, getting in front of you is such an honor, such a pleasure, and I appreciate you guys coming by the channel, supporting. But more importantly here, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, we put these videos together because we understand a lot of people are trying to get into overlanding off-road and be able to enjoy the craft. It's all about having the right tools. And for those that have a smaller vehicle, or heck, you may just be after this because you have a side-by-side and you want to be able to get out in the sticks a little bit more. Your full-size diesel is not as nimble as your little 2x2 side-by-side. Well, this is perfect for that. But again, this was a ton of fun. But I hope this video was valuable for you. And if it was, hit that like button down below if you're currently not subscribed to the channel. Friend, what are you waiting for? We'd love to have you part of the family. And last but not least, so therefore you don't miss a single video, heck, just like the one that you just watched, be certain to hit that bell so that YouTube does its whole notification thing when we come out with new videos. That said, my friends, well, hell, I'm going to turn off the camera so you get out there, stay healthy, and find your adventure.